Welcome to the podcast for Runaway. I'm the author, Sabine Wilder, here to read my book to you. Let's get started. Chapter 9. Game Over. Anna hadn't run far before she slowed to a walk, choking down gulps of air between sobs. Her throat burned in the frigid air. She couldn't imagine why anyone would ever run for fun. Her legs quivered beneath her, threatening to give out their support, but Anna forced one foot in front of the other until her ragged breathing evened out. She stumbled, but caught herself, holding her body upright, even though she wanted to collapse on the ground. A chill spread over her skin, and she stopped, looking over her shoulder the way she had come. The street was empty. Of course, why would she follow me after that? The silence surrounding her swallowed her voice. Anna wrapped her arms across her chest and continued to walk away from home. The thought of going back and facing Susan was too much. This wasn't anything like how she had imagined coming out to her best friend. Not at all. Her chest tightened and she fought back tears. She'd made a huge mess of things. Anna found herself wandering down a trail that led to a nearby park. It was a small lot of sand hosting aging equipment. Slowly, everything was being replaced with plastic, but the old metal swing set still sat in place. Multiple layers of vibrant paint peeled from the supports, exposing rust underneath. Anna took the long chains in hand and lowered herself onto the swing. The hinges at the top groaned in protest, but eased into a light creak as she swayed back and forth. Anna leaned a cheek against the cool chain, kicking off against the sand, listening to the sighing metal echo through the playground. She took her feet from the ground, letting the swing support her. The crunch of footsteps across the sand startled her. Anna craned her neck to see who was coming. Her heart sank when she saw Will approaching her. He was the last person in the world she wanted to see right now. The hairs on the back of her neck prickled, and the chill she had warded off earlier returned. The chains from the swing bit into her hands, and she had to remember to relax her grip. Will lifted his hand in greeting, but his step faltered and he hesitated. He smiled at Anna, but cast his eyes to the sand as he drew closer. He approached the swing next to her. "Mind if I join you?" "It's a public park," Anna replied, as frigid as the air. Will lowered himself onto the swing, facing the opposite direction and pushing himself back a little so he could see Anna's face. "Are you okay?" Anna opened her mouth, but no retort came out. Instead, she shook her head. "I want to be left alone right now." She bit her lip to prevent herself from crying in front of Will. "I'm sorry." "What?" Anna struggled to reconcile those words coming from Will. Maybe she misheard him. "I'm sorry," Will repeated, this time louder and clearer. He turned his gaze to his lap. "I'm bugging you again, aren't I? You look so sad, so I thought you might want some company. If you want, I can go." "Don't be silly. It's all right." Anna's manners kicked in. Will was far from his usual obnoxious self. Maybe this would be a good opportunity to set things straight. "I'm kind of dealing with a lot of stress right now." "I know. I think we all are. I still can't believe Jim's gone. It puts things into perspective, doesn't it?" Will tried to say something but faltered. Instead, he kicked at the sand. "Anna, I'm sorry if I've been a jerk to you. I just wanted to say that. I won't bother you any more." He pushed himself off the swing and began walking away. "Wait!" Anna struggled to process everything that was happening, wishing the world would stand still for a moment so she could sort things out. Reconciliation with Will floated within her grasp. She couldn't let it go that easily. Anna tore herself from the swing, racing around to catch up to Will. He continued walking, but slowed down so Anna could catch up. "Wait, you're really sorry? Just like that?" "That's what I said, wasn't it?" Will's cheeks flushed. "Oh, thank you. That means a lot to me." Anna crossed her arms over her chest once more, trying to fend off the cold by holding herself tight. "I'm sorry, too, for being rude and fighting. I didn't mean to. Everything is so messed up right now. I don't know what to say." "Well, it's good to know you don't hate me." "Hate you?" Anna couldn't believe her ears. "I don't hate anyone. Why would you think that?" "Because every time I try to talk to you, you get your back up about something. I wouldn't have to get defensive if you just talked to me like a normal human being, like you're doing right now. Is that so hard?" Will shrugged. "I guess it's hard to be human sometimes. All I wanted was to get your attention." Well, you got it, though I can't say it was a pleasant experience. I get that now, and I'm sorry. I guess I don't know what to say either. I've never had a problem saying the right thing to a girl before. But you're different, Anna. Yeah, about that. Anna searched for the right words to let Will down easy. She didn't want to ruin the understanding they were developing, but at the same time, she didn't want Will to think she was interested. Look. I like you, Anna. Will beat her to it. Their footsteps echoed in the silence that followed. Will stopped walking, staring intently at Anna. It's okay. You don't have to say anything. I get it. The hairs on the back of Anna's neck prickled, but she brushed the feeling aside. Will took a step closer. He had a strange look in his eyes that wasn't there a moment ago. A look that caused the chill in Anna's spine to intensify into a shiver. Something was wrong. It doesn't really matter anymore, Will said, his voice cold, almost bored. Suddenly his face distorted into a wicked grin. I'm afraid we've run out of time. Anna found herself on a cold, dusty floor. The room smelled of treated wood and chalky drywall. The last rays of sun scraped through the single window, casting long shadows through the room. It was getting dark. Anna tried to move, but her muscles felt like they had been turned to stone. Feeling came to her limbs slowly as she stretched out. She had no idea where she was. Everything had happened so fast. Will had moved so fast. Unnaturally fast. He moved with a strength and speed Anna knew wasn't possible, at least not for a human. Her mind snapped back to her conversation with Sue. She had said there were others. If her best friend was a werewolf, then anything was possible. Anna gripped her throbbing head, forcing herself to focus. It didn't matter. Only survival mattered. She had to get away from Will. As she pushed herself up from the floor, a cold voice called out from the shadows. Don't try to run. There's no point. Anna's blood went cold. Despite the warning, she sprinted toward the only door in the room. A shadow tore itself from the wall, moving faster than her eye could catch, and then Will was standing in front of her, blocking the exit. I told you. There's no point in trying to run. Will crossed his arms, leaning against the doorframe. Despite his relaxed posture, there was a hungry glint in his eye. Anna took a step back, weighing her options. Whatever Will was, he could move faster than her without breaking a sweat. Running really wasn't an option. Frantically, she looked around the room for anything that might help her, but aside from some discarded Tim's cups, the room was empty. There was only the door and the single window for escape, and judging by the view, they were on the second floor. Anna began to shake. There was no way out. What do you want? Will straightened up. A devilish twitch played across his lips that could have been a smile if it didn't look so threatening. Good. You're coming around. Clearly you can't escape, so it's better to accept things as they are. Why are you doing this? Anna fought the panic tightening her throat. Will took a step towards her, then another. Anna froze as he approached. You've been so much fun these past few months, he said. It's a shame we can't go on. Alas, the game is drawing to a close, and I'm rushed to end it. Will came right up to her, breathing in heavily before circling Anna. He lifted a hand to caress Anna's shoulder. She flinched. What are you doing? She could no longer hide the fear in her voice. Having my fun. Just because I had to speed up the hunt doesn't mean I have to rush the finale. You're sick. Will laughed. You have no idea. But then you're about to find out, aren't you? No! Anna tried to back away, but Will caught her arm and slammed her into the floor. Will stood over her, calmly waiting for her next reaction. Anna froze, but her body betrayed her as it started to tremble. See, I knew you were a smart one, but then I only chase smart ones. Those vapid high school girls can be so boring, but then, once in a while, there's one worth hunting. Some hunter, Anna spat back. You could at least give me a sporting chance. You are absolutely delightful, Anna. Do you know that? Will bent down, reaching out a hand to cup Anna's cheek. It's almost a waste to destroy you. Then why do it? Anna jumped at the shred of hope. Why not let me go? Ah, dear girl, if only I could. But it's all part of the game. A game I always win. Unfortunately, circumstances beyond my control have forced me a little ahead of schedule. Sounds like you're cheating to me. You are exceptional. I haven't had this much fun in nearly 100 years. 100 what? Oh, no. I didn't mean to stretch your fragile human mind, but I'm sure some part of you understands I'm not really human, especially seeing as how you like to play with dogs. What are you? Anna barely let her breath escape. So curious. Maybe I'll keep you guessing to the end. What are you going to do? Well, make no mistake, darling. This is the end. But I have this dreadful habit of playing with my food. Will licked his lips, running his eyes over Anna's body. Anna shivered in revulsion. You're disgusting. Will leapt on top of her, straddling her hips and pinning her wrists to the floor. You're a difficult woman, you know that? Shut up! Get off me! Will smothered her screams with his lips. Anna went rigid. This couldn't be happening. Will pulled back from his crushing kiss, then lowered his face again, gently pulling on Anna's lower lip. A needle of pain bit into it, and the coppery taste of blood filled her mouth. Will's movements became wilder and more feral as he lapped at the blood pooling from the wounded lip. He kissed Anna deeply, forcing his tongue into her mouth. Anna shuddered, but she couldn't move. Her body didn't want to respond. In a fit of panic, she took Will's tongue and bit down as hard and fast as she could. It was rewarding to feel Will flinch in pain. He drew back, raising a hand to his now bloody mouth, and began to laugh. Oh, this is funny. It's too bad I don't have time to explain why, because this is hilarious. Anna spat as more blood pooled in her mouth, but now there was something else. Will's blood had a bitter taste to it. Her stomach lurched as she struggled to get the sickening taste of him out of her mouth. Then her lip began to burn. That little pinprick, which had almost become numb to pain, suddenly felt like it was on fire. I don't find this funny at all. No, and here I had so much planned for us, but now you've gone and ruined it. Silly girl, we can't take our time any longer. I'm afraid I'll have to finish this immediately. Will leaned forward again, but this time he placed his lips over Anna's neck. That concludes Chapter 9. Runaway is currently available for you to listen to for free. I will release a new chapter every week until the book is finished. But if you can't wait to find out what happens, the ebook is available through Kobo and Amazon. Just search for Sabine Wilder or get a direct link from my website at sabinewilder.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, or would like to give me feedback, you can always email me at sabine@sabinewilder.com. Don't forget to rate this podcast and help me grow. Thank you for listening, and have a pleasant night.